Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine Blazer, and I work with Investor Quarters and REI Live Sarasota. I am so excited to have Troy Funk with us here today, kind of giving us an update on what is happening in the Sarasota and Manatee market. He is a local realtor and an expert and has been in the business for quite a bit, so he's got a lot of years of experience. We'll leave it at that. And without further ado, what are we seeing? What's going on, Troy?
You know, the market is hot right now. It has been hot since pandemic. And what's interesting about it is I didn't anticipate this being as hot as it is right now, because you got to understand, we are not in season yet. This is not our high time of the year. This is the time of the year where things are normally slow. And there's a few factors that contribute to I believe why we're in a really strong market right now. And the number one reason is that we're in Sarasota. We are a destination location. And as everyone can see, the world's kind of in chaos right now. And there are areas in the United States where people are trying to get out as quickly as they can. And we're actually seeing population shifts readjust because of the pandemic. And because we are a destination location, Sarasota, the real estate market is hot.
It is. And, you know, I think back to the first update that we did with you, which was March, April timeframe. And you were like, you know, I think it's going to be kind of like red tide, where it slows down for a minute and then it comes right back and it's stronger than ever. And it seems like you were kind of right on the money, except for we didn't really slow down, did we?
No, we never slowed down. In fact, it just kind of sped up. And I think that was a good point of reference. We talked about red tide. The last one we had in Sarasota was the worst I've ever seen. And I felt like that would have a huge impact on our economy, and it didn't. It didn't slow things down. I mean, we still have continued to thrive. And ideally, you got to look at the whole world has changed. I mean, we're more technology based, and because of that, people can live where they want to live. And with COVID, a lot of industries have changed it so employees are now working more from home. And so with that as an option, the pieces are changing quite a bit.
Absolutely. So are you seeing more of our buyers or new buyers coming into the market being this traditional Sarasota retiree looking for sun out of the Northeast, or what type of buyers are you interacting with?
We're having a lot of people up north coming down, ready to buy. And what's interesting is they're buying without even seeing the property in some cases. And we've had quite a bit of that, where we're having closings where the buyer hasn't seen it, or they come the day of closing to see what they buy. And we're talking $500,000 Siesta Key condos and Longboat Key. And I mean, we've had some really nice sales from out-of-state buyers just coming into our area.
Are they relocating down here, or just keeping it as a second home, or?
A lot of them, both. You know, it's intensified. I mean, this has always been kind of the norm for us, but it's turned up quite a bit. So I would say both.
Okay, very cool. And then, you know, we're talking a little bit about like Siesta Key condos. What other properties are moving really quickly?
Well, I think the biggest shift that I've seen is land. People want rural properties and people want land, and we're seeing a lot. We saw a huge uptick. In fact, if you look at Mayaca City right now, you look at what's for sale and you look at the appreciation, buying Mayaca a year ago would have been a very good investment. When you look at supply and demand and how property values have gone up so much in the last year.
That's crazy, because Mayaca is one place that I don't necessarily like driving out to, because it's 30 minutes from anything unless you're going to a lemur conservation. So that is a good point. So we're doing a lot more new development, or people are looking for larger plots, or?
Yeah, people want space. People want space around them. And we're finding that obviously the big city life is becoming more rural. And we're hearing this across the board. I have conferences every week with broker owners from Realty One all over the United States. They're talking about the markets, and the brokers that are in suburban areas are just thriving. And in fact, one of the areas off in New York City, they were talking about they had just listed the property, and this was off in New Jersey, and they had 14 showings in the first hour, and they were giving people tickets to get in the property, to show the property, because people are leaving the cities, they're leaving New York, and they're leaving the big cities, California, and they're coming where they can have a better quality of life. And Sarasota has a great value. When you look at the value proposition that we have for the price of a home, what you get for that, not just that home, but with that lifestyle that you get with that, we have a extremely good value proposition buying in Sarasota.
Yeah, I mean, we live in paradise. We live where people vacation. So who doesn't want to live here, especially when you have the opportunity to? Are there any things or items that stand out on buyers' wish list of things that they really want?
Well, as you can see, new homes are doing extremely well right now. New product is doing extremely well. A lot of buyers want turnkey. They want to be able to just move right into it and make it feel good. And I think that's really a good opportunity, and where Mark has a lot of insight here is that he knows how to take something that a lot of people don't want and transform it to something that will get a lot of attention. So there's a real value in having that skill set.
No, absolutely. I know one thing that I really want is a designated office space. Are you seeing a lot of other buyers that want, a third or fourth bedroom or a den office area where they have that designated workspace as we start working more remotely? Is that one of the request items?
It was interesting. We were reading an article where buyers' expectations of floor plans are different now. They don't necessarily like all the open concept, especially if there's more occupants in the house. People always want their own space. And obviously a home office is a big importance in the economy or where we're going with this.
Yeah, that is funny because open concept has been such a big push for the last 5-10 years of open everything up and make it one. You can talk to the den, but I know that I have a hard time shutting off when everything is spread out on my kitchen counter. So
Right. It's kind of interesting that we're kind of going back to the idea of segregated spaces in a house. When people live in a home, they want their own space. Makes sense.
Yeah, it does. What about what other wish list items are people wanting that we could kind of suggest to rehabbers as they start either taking on their first flips or doing multiple flips that they have that those end buyers are really wanting?
Well, I'm always surprised at the value of staging and what it costs to stage a property and the amount of return that you get back from staging. Buyers, when they walk in a home and they feel the quality of the life, or they see how they can live in that home, staging has always been a great investment in marketing property. The house is done. If the home has been renovated well, staging dollar for dollar makes you a lot of money.
Absolutely. What about days on market? How are those doing right now?
Well, they're significantly down. It's all about supply and demand. So we are hearing multiple offers come in. We had one listed not too long ago that, well, we have there is always going on. Everything we have listed for the most part has multiple offers coming in on it. And especially the first few days, if people are waiting for the product and then it hits the marketplace, typically it's going to get a lot of interest.
Yeah, I was working on a loan where they missed out on a property and then they ended up making an offer before they saw it within 30 minutes of it going live. And thank goodness they got it because she's a teacher and they were moving here last month for her to start teaching remotely. So it's crazy. I can't believe how quickly everything is going. And people are making offers at list or above right now, or at least that's what I've been seeing. So
yeah, one thing I'm a little cautious though, and I saw this happen before, is last time there are investors that buy properties at the Courthouse Steps, and ideally when you buy something on the Courthouse Steps, you're taking a big calculated risk sometimes with the title, not sure you have clear title, and also not knowing what you're buying. A lot of times people buy those properties and they don't know, does that house have Chinese drywall? Is there a plumbing problem? And there's a certain calculated risk at buying at the Courthouse Steps. And what I'm seeing now is that the sales that are happening at the courthouse are retail sales. I'm not seeing any deal there at all. And that's telling me that buyers just can't find inventory, so they're willing to even take the risk of buying something at the courthouse steps without knowing the title could be clear and without knowing the condition. That's something to be aware of at this time.
Yeah, that is a good point that I hadn't looked at, just because those aren't really where I go looking for deals, because it's so oversaturated, or at least it has been. So that is a good point. So making sure people are knowing their numbers. Do you see a correction coming or a stabling out, depending on how?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we can't keep moving in this direction forever. This can't continue. And the last time I saw correction, it was right at a point where there was so little inventory. But it was different back then, because back then the correction was a lot of sellers did not have the ability to actually afford the home they were buying. And in this situation, for the last 10 years, I would say half of all our sales have been cash that have transpired. And it's been a lot more difficult to secure financing from a lender. So we don't have a credit problem with buyers. We're just going to have a slowing down of some sort. This just can't continue. But we're in an area where people want to live. So we are going to have some major corrections, I think, in big cities where the inventory of property is increasing rapidly because people don't want to live there. And the other concern I would see right now would be commercial. We're seeing a lot of retail space empty, and it's not space that necessarily will be replenished with a new tenant anytime soon. So there's going to be some spotty corrections coming up, for sure, from my perspective.
Do you think that those will happen this year, or do you think it'll be a 2021 halfway through time frame?
Well, I think it's already happening. If you look at retail space and you're looking at the empty space, I mean, a lot of those owners are already in trouble on retail space. And I think what will help self-correct that is either rezoning or repurposing property. For example, I heard the Sarasota Square Mall is under foreclosure right now, and that was, when I was a kid, that was the whole hub of entertainment and shopping, and if you go there, you can see it's basically an empty mall other than Costco. But the idea was the most likely buyer for that would be Amazon. They could turn that into a distribution center, and that they were looking at it. So I think we're going to see a repurpose shift, where we're just going to see commercial property reshift to different purposes. There's always a need, but the need's going to be different.
Cool. Okay, that is good. I hadn't heard of Amazon looking at Sarasota Square, but that's, I feel like, been on the downward spiral for a few years now, as a lot of the malls are. Last time I was at Siesta Key Mall, the one on Bee Ridge, that one didn't have very many people last time I was there either. So, okay. So what, I guess kind of, if you were talking to a newer investor that's looking at their first flip or their first rental property, kind of where would you suggest that they start targeting it and looking at and marketing?
Well, there's always opportunity, even in an escalating market. You have a point of sellers are always excuse me, there's sellers that are always looking to sell, and there's always opportunity. And I think Mark has really given me a good vision when he talked about buying in a good market and a bad market. If you buy it right, you've made a good investment. And even talked about buying property where the value went down substantially, but because he held on to that asset, it paid itself off, and it was a great investment. So, he has a different perspective of it long term. I think the most important thing, if you're an investor, just get educated. Get educated. There's always ways to make money. And
could I interject here?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's right. Remember, it's always the right time to buy real estate if you buy real estate the right way. And for those listening on this call right now that want to be investors, are investors, or want to get in, get out, you can never time it properly. But what you can do is you can get a clear vision for what you're trying to create portfolio-wise, rentals, flips, or wholesales, and each day take action in that direction. And don't stop when you hear things on the news. First of all, you shouldn't be listening to the news. This game is between yourselves, and get on the journey that you're going to stay moving on. And if you're in real estate for the long term, and I hope if you're on this call, you are, stay on the train and don't get off the track. Okay. And that means don't, all that outside noise is outside. You can pay attention to it. But one thing about real estate, it's a tangible asset that will always be there. You can see it, you can touch it, you can feel it, you can rent it, and people are always going to have a need to have a place to live. So without a doubt, you people listening out there, if real estate is the vehicle that you're choosing for financial freedom, know that good times, bad times, all the times. If you structure deals the right way, it's always the right time. Keep on moving forward, keep acquiring property, get yourself lined up with somebody who has what you want, and attach yourself. Find a mentor, find a coach, come to REI Live. Join us on this journey as we collaborate instead of compete with each other. Join the network and do this together with people. It's a lot more fun. And when you're in it for the long haul, it's the only way it's really going to work. You got to build your network. Just like Troy and I go back so many years. I don't know when we started, and we've watched each other grow and seen each other get through the challenges and struggles. And so there's a new world out here, and it's a little bit isolated because of what's happening right now. But you got to remember, it's people to people, belly to belly is what really brings it home. And that's why Troy's on this call with us. So don't forget about coming on out. And I encourage you, you got to look at houses, you got to talk to people and get out there and get ready, because this time coming up, 2021, is going to be a magical time for the people who play the game and learn how to play it the right way. Okay, there's dynamics going on right now that have never been there before. Interest rates are at 3%. On the other hand, you got lots of people out of jobs, which means houses are going to be in foreclosure. And there's money in the streets. There's people out there that have money in their 401ks and all the ways that we teach you guys. If you stay tuned in to REI Live and IQ, we're going to give you the goods that will help you stay on the journey, but you'll start forming a network with us with the tools that you need to succeed in any market. So get ready.
Yeah, so for the people who logged in late, that was Mark Pellets. He is one of the owners for REI Live and Investor Quarters. He is also a massive landlord in the Sarasota and Manatee market. He's been in the business for over 40 years, and he also hit on a couple of things that I want to make sure that everyone caught on to. We have a monthly networking event at REI Live SRQ. It's hosted at the Carlisle. It'll be on the 29th this month. If anybody's from Bigger Pockets, Jay Scott will be speaking at it. Please bring your questions. There will be opportunities to ask him anything. It'll be an open forum type of thing, diving into that on the 29th. And then we will be having some events. I kind of hit on it this earlier about our November schedule. We'll be actually hosting some events at some of our active, getting ready to start active or recently finished projects for the month of November. And if anybody wants information, we will be having a deep dive mastermind the first weekend of December that'll kind of talk you through how to get started in investment real estate if you are looking for deals. There is always a lot of money made for people who are willing to find ways to make it in downturns. That's where actually most wealth is built. So keep that open mind and that perspective. Troy, our first call, if anybody wants to go back and listen to it, is on our REI Live channel. We talked a lot about perspective, as Mark just did. If you think that there's an opportunity and you think that there's a way, and you're buying properties with a plan B exit strategy, whether it's putting it in your rental portfolio or whatever it might be, how can it not be a good investment? So you've got two different ways to get in and out of it. Troy, while we were talking just then, Darren had a question. What are your thoughts on the Bradenton market? What's going on over there?
Bradenton's just as good. I mean, ideally it's our relative next to us, so Bradenton's a good market. I've owned property in Bradenton. It's certainly price point's better. It's more entry level. And it's a good market. I think Bradenton's is a great market.
Yeah, I agree. And then we've got another question that came in about office buildings with people working from home because of COVID, or they just realized that they'll be able to continue working from home when COVID ends. How do you repurpose a tall office space building? Have you heard of anything that's coming out like that?
Well, I'm forecasting, but I think they're going to have to rezone those buildings to residential use of some sort, or just change it altogether. Some of that's going to have to look very different than what it does, because we're not going to have the same amount of office. The need's not there when people can work from home, and if a business operates that. So those buildings are just going to have to be repurposed. That's my opinion on that.
Yeah, and that's been coming for a while. They've done studies for the last 5 or 10 years that millennials like work-life balance, and we're realizing that, you know, we can get everything done. We've had to pivot and adjust on being as productive from home and learning new disciplines across the board. So that'll be interesting. I'm excited about it. Very cool. Does anybody else have any questions that we can get answered for you really quick? REILivesRQ.com. I just posted our website in the group chat. If anybody wants to go grab an RSVP for Jay Scott's event, there are going to be limited seats, so please RSVP and let us know you're coming. If you're not coming, let us know as well so that we can reuse that seat. Is there anything else you'd like to say and end with, Troy?
No, I think I appreciate Mark adding to that, because, as I said, he's been a huge inspiration. Education is worth the expense. You pay for it either way. You either pay for it the hard way or the easy way. And the easy way is plugging into someone that's already done what you're going to do. And I think the inspiration I got from Mark was, if you make a good investment, it's a good investment. And even when the last downturn we had, he talked about a property, as he said, that went down in value on the surface, but at the end of the day, it was a great investment, because it paid itself off and it gave him residual cash flow the rest of his life. But if the typical person had seen that opportunity, they would see the fear factor in it and not invest in that opportunity. So I think that was the inspiration of just really how he looks at the big picture of investing, and knowing that you want to surround yourself with other people that are doing what you want to do, that have done it much better than where you've been.
Absolutely. You're talking about the apartment building, right? That
yeah.
he won our 2 million pre-crash, and then came down to like 500,000, and then it's back up to $1 million and change, and it's still
Guys,
put in.
got the story now? Is that what you're trying to get out of me?
Yeah, tell us the numbers, because I'm pulling those out of my backside.
We'll give you guys a little story and a little history lesson, but a little truth about how you can take it on the small deals and just make it, like, understand how it really works, as long as you're in the game for the long haul. And so way back when I was a young man, about Troy's age, so I bought an apartment complex when I had little to no money. And I talk about buying standalone properties. That just means any property, when you buy it, it's got to pay for itself and put cash in Mr. Hip Pocket Bank. So I bought an apartment complex in Nokomis. I still have it. It's actually on the market right now. And it's one of the only things I ever have emotional in real estate. And I paid $1 million for it, leveraged it with somebody else's money, because I really didn't have any money at that time. And if you want to know more, come back to our events. You'll hear all about how I was broke twice and started again, and all of that kind of stuff. It wasn't always like this, but I bought this place, and when I bought it, I paid like $1 million for it. And that was back around the 2000 or so. And we all know what happened. Or some of you youngsters, if we have any young gunners out here, we really want to show you, because I started at 21 and with no credit and no direction. So I really love helping young guys. So don't think you don't have. You have to be able to. What?
And girls, you like helping young
girls,
guys?
yes. Oh, especially girls, actually. Yep, especially girls. Yes. I'm sorry. Caught again. Oh, so I bought this place, got it, and in 2008, obviously it was worth, it went down to about $500,000. But when I bought the place, I bought it right. Now, you may wonder what that means when it's worth $500,000 now and I owe $1 million on it. But what it means is that the money from the rents came in and covered everything that it cost me to keep that property, and I was just holding on. Fast forwarded to now, it's worth $1.5 million plus. It's more than $10,000 a month income. The mortgage has been paid down from other properties in that property that I got income from. but it wasn't like, if anybody tries to tell you this is going to get rich you quick, and I know those words are mixed up, but it's, I guess, this slang talk here. The fact of the matter is, if you make a decision and real estate's your vehicle, and you keep moving forward and you decide not to quit, even if you just buy 2 houses a year for the next 10 years, that's 20. Do that after 20 years, you've got 40. And just keep going no matter what. And each year persevere and stay consistent and persistent. And though it's the journey you're on, you will get to the promised land that you want when you first got involved in real estate, which is freedom. Along the way, it's not going to feel like freedom. You're going to work nights, you're going to work weekends, you're going to have toilets overflowing, and you're going to have some shit that happens. But when you get through that, you're going to get what you look for. And anything in life, if you ever quit on it, you're never going to get what you really want. So it's time for you, me, everybody to start stepping up in all areas of our life. But for now, we'll just talk about real estate. And that house proved to me, and is a story that I can tell you time and time again, it's always the right time to buy real estate if you buy real estate the right way. Tap into our network. You know, this network will determine your net worth. You hang around people that are doing what you're doing, that are open and want to collaborate, make them part of your crowd, and we hope to see you there in the upcoming months as we close out the year.
Hey guys, we had a question that just came in that I'm kind of curious to know what y'all's response is. Do y'all think that gentrification, I know I said that wrong, I apologize, is driving the market climate specifically in Sarasota?
We have some opportunity zones which are really interesting if you read the dynamics of opportunity zones and where they are. In Sarasota, I've seen tremendous appreciation in opportunity zones. So that's something to study up on.
Very cool. There's great, I mean, if you read through those guides and what you can do, and especially if you hold long term, it's a really cool market. So
absolutely, and that's where gentrification in those areas, and they're typically in areas that historically we wouldn't buy. You would want to own real estate in, and now that's something I would say you focus on.
Absolutely. Okay, I think we've got time for one more question. So if anybody has a last minute question that you guys want to throw in the group chat.
Next time, maybe we'll get my picture in there. We have to figure that out.
Tablet, Mark.
Okay. So, good thing you can't see the way I look right now, so it's okay for today. As always, you look beautiful, Catherine. Look forward to seeing you at the live upcoming event. Troy, you look younger all the time. It must be that girl you're hanging with.
I got it right this time, Mark.
Vegan food.
All that green food that we started many years ago.
The live event is going to be October, if I can type and talk, October 29th, and it'll be at the Carlisle Inn on Bay Vista. If you check out the website, which is reilivesrq.com, please RSVP, let us know that you're coming just so that we can keep track of the head count. If something happens and you're not able to attend, let us know as well. Perfect, Val. We look forward to meeting you in person there. I think at least Mark and I know we'll be there, as well as Paul and Brittany. Troy, are you planning on coming?
Of course.
Okay, awesome.
Bring your crew too, Troy. Bring your crew.
Okay.
Troy Funk, Realty One.
Yes.
Number one. Put up that finger, Troy. Put that number one. Come on. It's okay. It's all right. It's all good.
Yes, Val, the event is on for Eventbrite. Okay, cool. If there are no other questions, I'll let Troy get back to his day, and thank everybody for joining us. And of course, Troy, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us.
Great, thank you. Enjoyed it. All the best.